Okay, don't judge all my tabs. This is what the week before a teaching looks like. So this is the swap card app though. Hopefully all of you have seen it at this point. We are strongly encouraging our delegations to sign in before the second that they want to sign in, just in case something happens. We've had a pretty, so far so good, but you know, there have been some folks that have had trouble getting in. So if we can deal with it ahead of time, we're able to respond faster. So that's the first thing I want to encourage folks: sign in before the actual event. When you get here, you'll see there are quite a few buttons. You can either work from these buttons on the main page, or up at the top, all of the buttons are listed in menu form as well. I'm gonna first send you to the schedule. There are 3 different schedule spots that you can work from. The full schedule will have all of the dates on it. So September 28th and October 16th are some of our pre-session. And then if you go into the 19th, that's where the high school track is going to start. So just by clicking each date, you'll see everything that is listed as part of that first day. So Monday, there's a ton happening because there's both high school track sessions and professional development sessions, which I recommend to all of you as well as high school educators. I think all of them are targeted towards high school. So that's a great opportunity for you and your colleagues to participate in beyond the high school track. So when you click on a session, what it'll do is we released all the content
Third panelist for today.
But we released all the content ahead of time, so you'll be able to see the video right away. When you click on the session, you can get the description below. And then if you want to mark it for yourself, so you can have easy ability to, these are the ones I'm gonna pick for the week and what I'm going to teach from, go ahead and click this register button. You can always unregister. It's not a big deal if you accidentally register for something, but that's nice because then it's going to create this My Event page. So boom, it's right here. So if I go to My Event in the future, everything that I've selected and registered will show up in one place. So that's the very brief
Third panel
schedule overview. One other thing to note is we tracked everything in the high school track to run into the next one. So if you scroll down, so Marcos Gonzalez is breaking open the theme for us on Monday as part of the high school track. If you scroll down on that page, you'll see all of the other sessions that will be happening on that day that you can access right from this page. So instead of having to go back to the schedule each time, it should direct you, if you just scroll down, one to the next. You'll also see on this page, since it is part of the high school track, that there is a link here to the prayer and reflection resources that Brenna has been working on. So it'll take you right to this drive, and then they're broken out days 1 through 5. So Brenna will go through them more, but there's multiple pieces for each day that you can use and instruct your students to use, but those are linked in every session that is part of the high school track. They can click that link button for access. And this isn't, the links is not only something that we're doing for the high school track. If you go into the weekend content, you're gonna notice that a lot of the presenters will have links as well. So I do always encourage folks to make sure you scroll down, because you could miss some of the important content that would be part of a presenter that you won't necessarily get on the video. In some cases as well, a lot of folks asked about how students can interact with each other. Because of privacy issues, we wanted to make sure that students did not have access to the video chat so you can do. You all have access to it, so I would highly recommend you spend some time networking with other folks, and I'll go through that. But students, we wanted to block that. So students will not have the capability to schedule one-on-one meetings with each other. But they will have access to group chats, which ISN will be moderating, but there are going to be multiple sessions happening at once. So it might not be a perfect moderation system. We're asking all the delegation leaders to help us. If you see something, please do let us know. How can you do that? You can, I believe actually Erin is creating a form that you can report things that need to be moderated, or you can always go to, if you go home and then you go to this group chats, there is going to be a chat that you can just type into, let us know this comment needs to be removed, and we will not only remove the comment, but we've asked everyone to sign on to a code of conduct for the conference. So if someone says something inappropriate, they're out, and we will not be providing a refund. So, you know, our hope is that this is a safe space for everyone, and we're going to take that very seriously. So group chats is one way that folks can interact with each other. I'm skipping around a little bit here, but I know some folks are planning on doing the weekend as well. That's another space that students will be able to interact with other students by participating in roundtables. So, and I'm gonna show just one more feature here actually while I'm thinking of it. So if this is overwhelming with the amount of things that are showing up on a day, we did create a filter that if you just click high school track, you'll see only high school track content for each day, and only the days of the high school track. If you click the professional development track, then you'll only see those options as well for the day. And then if you click schedule, you'll get everything. And if you click IFTJ weekend, you'll just see the weekend content. So it's a shortcut if you want to skip around that way, but always feel free to go back to schedule to see the full picture.
It says, are these group chats for the breakouts on the weekend or equally for the on-demand items in the high school track?
So we are going to have them, basically what happened was we had everything enabled for all of them, and then we realized we're not watching the app very well yet, so we pulled them. So now we're in the process of putting some back for the high school track. So everything will have a group chat, but it won't have the group chat until it's closer to the time of the event, just so we can make sure we're keeping an eye on things before they happen. So yes, group chats will exist for everything.
Okay, so is the group chat really what the time is for? Because like if the video's already there, like why is it saying like 8 a.m. or 12 p.m. or whatever? Is it just that that's when the video chat will be, or the group chat will be live for that event?
Yeah, you know, honestly, I think this is one of the biggest drawbacks of our platform. It doesn't handle on-demand content very well. So we initially said they'd be released at 8 a.m. every day. So that's kind of an arbitrary time that's there. So it's not, yeah, that's honestly just arbitrary.
Okay, all right. So the group chats then are just kind of like for the high school track, if they wanted to chat about a certain video, it's just kind of live and ongoing throughout the week?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And we will be watching them, yeah. And what is neat is this applies more to the weekend, but students will be able to ask questions during the weekend. So then when we actually have live streamed programming, they can put their question in the chat, and then folks that like their question can upvote it, and that will make it more likely for our keynotes and our presenters to be able to address questions that there's a lot of interest in. So it does do a good job, I think, of really promoting some cross interaction between the audience and the presenters, but it applies a little bit more, I'd say, to the live content versus the on-demand.
Emma, I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
Will that live content, like on the weekends, be recorded so that we can watch it on demand after?
Yes. So right after we're done recording, because we live stream through YouTube, it'll be immediately available as on-demand content. So it'll look just like some of the videos I just showed. Our goal is to then also split out all of the individual parts of a general session, but that'll take, I would say, give us a few days. Well, really, realistically, we'll say it'll take a week to get the nicely split out pieces, but you'll be able to access the whole general sessions immediately.
So if I were to, let's say the week after the teach-in, look at on the swap card schedule, the weekend schedule, would there be a icon that says on demand then?
Yeah, well, if it doesn't say on demand and we haven't retract it, you could still just access the schedule as it is, and you'll click the same session and it'll pop up the video. So it'll function as on demand at that point.
The function's on demand at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Just to address two questions that are also in the
Ignatian
chat.
Family Teach-In.
So
are you
this
doing today?
is the exact same
online?
platform that students will see when they log in. The only difference is, like Kim said, they won't have the one-on-one chat feature. So students will be able to create their own schedule and do kind of all of the same things that you are able to do. And just to clarify, the high school track is on demand. The professional development track are Zoom meetings, and so those are going to be live and interactive, and they'll be happening every evening next week. And the weekend sessions are going to be live, but they will be accessible later, which I think was just the question that we just addressed.
Yeah, so for the professional development, I'm on the first one that's happening on Monday night. So Jack Jezreel from Just Faith is presenting. So every professional development session has a video component, except for one case. There's one on alumni serving as DEI directors that is just a conversation. But otherwise, all of the videos have been released now, and we're asking folks to watch the video ahead of time. They're anywhere from 30 minutes. Most of them are about 30 minutes to an hour. And then the time that those are scheduled for is the time of the roundtable conversation. So if you just scroll down, join the Zoom conversation, that's how you'll join it that evening. And then to Brenna's point about the live content, the only case where it won't be live is in our final breakout session. Those will be pre-recorded, but the presenters will be accessible in the chat to answer questions. So that would be actually a really great time to encourage students to be active in the chat, because then they can interact with the presenters right there. Here's one. So this is a roundtable. You'll see that there is a Zoom conversation provided. So because there will be an adult present, and just so folks know, we are going to be recording the Zoom conversations that are happening just for safety and being able to follow up with folks. It's a moderation concern for us. So because it will be recorded and we'll have an adult present in the roundtables, we have given high school students access to those. So we would encourage them to take part in the roundtables. I think there's about 40 options split between the 3 sessions. So there's quite a few issues that students can get plugged into. I know one of the things that we're working on that should be released by Monday is because the schedule is so big when you look at it all together, we're doing a simplified schedule at a glance so you can see where those roundtable times fall. So that would be, for the weekend purposes, I think probably helpful for folks to highlight for students if you want them to get interaction with other students. The other thing on the interaction piece, if they want to interact, we also gave them the ability to schedule meetings with our exhibitors. So we've got over 40 exhibiting groups, and they can chat with the exhibitors in their chats.
So I have one of these accounts, obviously, so I can go in, I can see everything that you just pulled up on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
The students are going to have an account on the same platform, right?
Yes.
Okay. And is that something that they make for themselves, or will some kind of login be sent to them?
Did you send us your delegates list?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so if you sent it within the last 72 hours, it's possible that we haven't uploaded it yet. We're giving a 72-hour window. If you sent it more than 72 hours ago, email Erin about that, because that concerns me.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. So technically what would happen is as soon as they're uploaded into the system, it should send out an email from SwapCard that then invites them to log in.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That was my question.
If my students deleted that email, is it just like a general link? Like I can just like forward them all my email and they can all get on with their email addresses?
So it's login.swapcard.com. It's
login.swapcard.com. Okay.
Yeah, it's in that email that we sent out yesterday of like how to get your delegation started.
Yeah. Okay.
And they have to use the email though that you registered them with.
Right.
That has happened before. So
yeah. Okay. And a random question. So all this content is going to be available for us to view later on demand. Is that like, is there an end time for that? Because like we're going to be doing an immigration unit in January. If we wanted to come back in January and watch this stuff, will it still be available?
You'll have access until June, and then realistically, we'll probably just put it on YouTube after that.
Okay, cool.
Just as a follow-up about the roundtable question, they are taking place via Zoom, and we are recording all of them just for like safety and moderation, but we don't have plans to upload them just because there are so many of them. If there is a specific one that you're curious about and we have the recording, maybe we can send it your way, but yeah. So I just want to share a few resources that we've put together that will hopefully make this journey a little bit easier if you are kind of doing it on the fly. And you should have received this via the email from Kim that invited you to this meeting. But basically, we've created an EFJ resource folder for the Teach-In, and we have it broken up by day, like Kim showed you earlier. And basically what we've put together, because we do know that the schedule is kind of a beast, is we have a prayer related to the theme for each day. They're not all this long, but available if you're looking for like a related prayer to each day's theme. And then what we've put together is a reflection guide for each day. So this kind of I think makes the schedule feel a little bit more manageable. So it shows our first opening talk, and I haven't done this on all of them, but I'm gonna go back in and put the time of how long the video runs, just so you don't have to like go hop around and be like, am I sending my students to watch a 40-minute video? So it's all right here. And we just have some suggested reflection questions. Feel free to use these or not. And so we've got the opening talk, the keynote, and then the first day has the most content. We have an Ignatian network speaker, and then we also have a reflection from actually students who are current students at the UCA in El Salvador. This talk is pretty long, it's 37 minutes, so I'm working on an alternate kind of way that you could do it, where we have it broken down into the 5 student speakers and the themes that they talk about, so that you'll be able to break out students and say, you're gonna watch speaker number 1, you're gonna watch number 2, and then everybody will report back. So that will be an additional resource that is in day 1. So you'll have another one there. We also have, and we know that someone has already been looking at this, we also have just some background resources on the Jesuits and the martyrs. And we shared these last year as well, but we think that they're still really great. So there are, there's a bio sheet about all of the Jesuits and their companions. We have a history sheet about the Civil War in El Salvador, and just kind of like a backgrounder, because we know that it's a lot to throw students into. I was a theology teacher at the Cristo Rey in Cleveland, and sometimes we would be on the bus to DC and I'd be like, does anybody know what a martyr is? And just like trying to kind of give the background on the fly. And then we also have some just suggested extension activities using both the bio sheet and the background sheet that you can use with students or not, but if you're just trying to kind of dig in a little bit more. Every other day is exactly the same. It has a prayer, and then it has a reflection, suggested reflection questions for each of the talks. Like I said, I'm going to go back in and add the timestamps to all of the videos, so they will be there and you will be able to see how long the content is for each day. On days 2, 3, and 4, so migration, ecology, and racial justice, we have a policy briefing video as well. So I've added that in, just a few general questions that students can think about as they're trying to make sense of what they're watching. And then we have a prayer also for each day, and also additional resources from ISN or related organizations. So the general theme, what we try to do with EFJ is follow the pastoral circle. So experience, analysis, reflection, action. So we always try to have some kind of getting students to think about their experience, a prayer piece, and then some way to act further. But we didn't want to limit people too much, so we just added additional resources. And so it's the same all the way through. We've got the exact same thing for the Environmental Justice Day. And so, yeah, so those are there. I think it's just kind of helpful to see, just so you know what you're getting into ahead of time, but all of the content, we have previewed it And I worked with a student from BCSTM to put these together. So everything has been watched, and if you just need to do it on the fly, we've got some reflection questions. So
I have a question, Brianna, real quick. Can you put that link in the chat
yeah,
for that drive?
of
And
course.
then number two, when you were talking about the speakers and their minutes, are those videos that are already uploaded right now? I was watching some already. So, okay, so it's
Exactly.
nothing live. Okay.
It's nothing live. It's just so that you can kind of have like a cheat sheet all in one spot to be like, on the first day, there is 180 minutes of content. Like, what are we going to look at? You know, because it's a lot, and, you know, you have limited time with students.
Brenna, you talking made me think of two things. One, that we just wanted to not remind, but let folks know that if for the UCA students video, it is pretty necessary, or at least extremely helpful for students to at least read the history resource that Brenna shared, or watch the Martyrs Legacy video that's also included in the day one, just to provide context, because the students reference the martyrs, and if students don't have the context, they're going to be a little lost. So that's a strong recommendation. The second thing that I should have known this months ago and just learned is if you want to direct your students to a specific link to a session, you can do that. So if you're using the app from your computer, whatever session you're on, if you just click that link in the top and share it, and send it to students, it'll ask students to log in, and then I'll take them right to that session. So that could be really helpful in a classroom setting, especially virtually, if you want to drive people exactly to where they need to go to watch the video. So definitely use that tip that I wish I knew about months ago.
And that also reminded me, I am going to, the Martyrs 101 is actually a pre-session, right, Kim? If I'm understanding.
Linked in the day one as well.
Okay, so it's not mentioned in the resource that we currently have in the Google Drive folder. So on day one, you'll see 2 more resources. I'm going to do like a fill in the blank for the Martyrs 101. So like, this many people died in the Civil War, just so students can kind of get the facts down. And then there will be the resource for the UCA students where it's kind of like that breakout.
Did you say there was a video in day one? I don't.
Is it not linked? Now I'm gonna, let me make sure. It's called something Legacy of the Martyrs.
Is it, do I have to open up the PDF?
Sorry, in the Google Drive folder, there are no videos. When we're talking about videos, we're talking about in Swap Card. The Google Drive folder will just have the resources that go along with the associated videos. And what I may even try to do, if I can get my act together now that I know that those links work, is I can also try to put the links directly to the videos on the resource guide. So
where do I find that Bio Martyrs video that Kim was talking about?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I thought it was on there. I'm going to add it right now. So it'll be in the high school track, and it will be scheduled for 8 a.m. Monday morning. So it shows up with everything else. So it should be there within the next 15 minutes.
Good question. Thank you. Cool.
Well, thank you to everyone, because this couldn't happen without all of you. I think when we were first talking about this, we were talking about how many people we needed to come to be able to pull this off. And we've got almost 6,000 people coming now, which is just incredible. So it's going to be different, but I think there's going to be some good coming out of 6,000 people getting pumped about justice. So thank you all. And please do feel free to ask us questions, because that's what we're here for. So we'll see you online next week.